Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The shaitan commands you with al-fahsha. The shaitan, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, يَأْمُرُكُمْ بِالْفَحْشَاءِ. And al-fahsha are all of the immoralities, things like zina, like pornography, like illicit relationships, like free mixing with women, like men and women talking to each other in an inappropriate way. All of these things are what we call fahsha, immoralities, things that are immoral, that lead to zina and that lead to the breakdown of the society. The shaitan loves for you to do this. So this is another thing, and this is specifically and especially with the young people. The shaitan plays on their emotions. He plays on the fact that they have, needs and desires and that their hormones are raging. And he makes, even sometimes the shaitan will use this from a religious point of view. And you'll ask the brother, Ya akhi, what are you doing mixing with all those women? And he'll say, I'm just giving them da'wah. I'm a da'i, I'm in my university and I'm calling those girls to Islam. They're not practicing and I'm helping them to practice Islam. And this is from the greatest of the traps of the shaitan for the young people. That he convinces you that this wrongdoing that you're doing is for the sake of Allah. So he says that, go and talk to that girl, it's nothing. Or he'll say, have a relationship with that girl because you're going to marry her in the end, right? He'll say, inshallah, you've got a niyyah, your niyyah is that you're going to marry her, so it doesn't matter, get a bit closer, because the shaitan is always trying to encourage you. So shaitan, one of his major aims that is mentioned more than once in the Quran is al-fahsha. Because he knows this breaks down the society, it breaks down the individual, it leads you away from the path of Allah, and eventually it gets you into more and more major sins, and it may even lead to a person turning away from Islam. How many young people have turned away from Islam because they fell in love with a girl? Or how many young ladies have run away from home and have left their parents and eventually, left their hijab and left their practicing of Islam because of a guy? So the shaitan is not stupid. He knows the effect of al-fahsha, of immorality on the society, and he knows that this immorality, it leads to further things, it leads to people going away from Islam, so he wants to encourage it as much as possible. Because this immorality, it stops you from practicing Islam. How many people do you know who have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and pray 5 times a day? Very, very few. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but very few. For the simple reason that prayer forbids you from al-fahsha and the shaitan commands you to do it. So the more that you pray and the more that you spend time in the masjid, even those people who have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, they're going to move away from it naturally, because the salah, the prayer is going to stop them from doing it. Subhanallah. And if there is anyone who watches the video, who is listening, who is in this kind of situation, I say to you simply one thing straight. Either you're not praying, or either your prayer is not being performed properly. Because if you are preparing or performing your prayer properly 5 times a day, your prayer would protect you from these things. So I say to these people, and an advice to myself and others, look at your prayer. If you find yourself falling into immorality, if you find yourself you have a problem with men and women, or you have a problem with, for example, pornography, or you have a problem with something like this, then look at your prayer. Because for sure there is a problem somewhere in your prayer. Either it's not being done on time, it's not being done in the masjid, it's not being done with khushu', or it's not being done at all. Because the prayer, it forbids you from doing these things. And that is the way we escape from the trap of the shaitan when it comes to al-fahsha.